Now later. Okay, I'm just kidding. Lady Ava, go get into bed. You are getting no more treats tonight. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. I'm the one with the begging corso who thinks that treats are her meal. Okay. Anyways, if this is your first time here at this channel, please like, subscribe, share, and don't be afraid to comment. And perhaps if you continue to listen, check it out, you may just learn something. So, anyway, it's Sunday. Who has anxiety about Sunday? Because it's just another manic Monday. Whoa, whoa. Okay, anyway, let me stop. Y'all just don't know. It's been a rough weekend. Prayers to my sisters in the struggle with perimenopause. Okay, that world between when is it going to end and it's ended. Anyway, I feel so much better right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. First of all, y'all, my little heart is broken. So, Hayden Panettiere, who has been around Hollywood for years, at age 36, it is being reported out of Hollywood by her reps that she has passed away. Now, one of two things has happened. I don't know any facts, but we know what happens when they don't disclose things. She was probably found and probably, decided, I don't want to be here anymore. Or OD'd. One of the two. Um, yes, yes. When I heard that news, I just utterly could not believe it because she's one of my favorite actresses, young actresses. I really got into her during Heroes when she was Claire Bennett. God, that was a great show, but like the last season just got really weird. And I think that was around the time that another writer strike happened, so maybe that's why I don't remember. But yes, Hayden Panettiere at age 36 has passed away. As you know, she has had significant struggles, particularly after having her child. She suffered from postpartum depression, which led to opiates, and alcohol abuse, I think is what she shared. Anyway, she just recently published a book, This Is Me, A Reckoning. And, but yes, they have not provided any details, but we've all been here before and we all know what that usually means when they don't disclose, because it's not like she had an illness, she had a mental illness, and we know sometimes that the mental illness often will lead to an ending that none of us want. And I tell people this, people often think, oh, you can just snap out of it. No, no, you really can't. No, you really can't. I've lost relationships because of my battles with depression, which were all situational in that time because I was in these jobs that were just horrific. Actually, let me not even say jobs. Let me just say I spent 12 years at a company that did not appreciate me. And at year 3, I remember it took me 8.5 years to get out. Good morning, Alexandra, Xavier, 186. Welcome to the conversation. So I'm really, you can't snap out of mental illness, what dumbies. This is Susan Serdowski. Yeah, some people really do. I've had people say, oh, like my depression was always situational, and mainly it was always work related. Um, and I really didn't come here to talk about it, but now that I think about it, it was just horrible. It was just horrible. And then I finally got a job that I really liked, but it almost killed me. Remember Freddie Gray? Who's Freddie Gray? Um, I um I remember I was working I always call this company Children of the Corn because these people were just horrible. And when I say horrible, horrible. And I remember I just started there, and a month, probably about 6 weeks after I started, I lost my Shih Tzu, Miss Pumpkin. For those of you who've been around long enough to know, y'all know Miss Pumpkin. That was my heartbeat. And it was weird. I mean, I'm out of the office, and yeah, somebody crazy is on here. Okay, I don't know. I'm just gonna let it ride. I was so confused as to what is going on, Rowan. I guess if it's a song I heard. We all know that's not your real hair. Here we go. Lovey Trey 420. His love LUVV dot Trey, two Y's at the end. 420 wants everyone to know this is not my real hair. As if I wasn't aware it wasn't my real hair. Honey, you missed the conversation last week. Obviously, you want attention. And since you are so bothered by my hair, if you want me to wear my real hair, feel free to contribute to the hair fund. And number two, because you don't know what has happened in the past 2 or 3 years, my father passed away. And in the process, I was working at a horrible job where we had a horrible woman who didn't like minorities of any kind and made sure that I was shown the door. I was compensated. And that was very stressful. And the majority of my hair fell out. So there you go. So thank you all. But anyways, yeah, depression is hard. And I remember when my dog died, I was like, these people really just do not give it. I remember getting an email, and the accounting department was asking me questions about relationships I didn't know anything about. Like, I just freaking got here. How would I know? And when you suffer a loss that great, such as a dog, um, you tell it who they are and give them your story, they shall stop hating. They probably want, let's say this: there are a bunch of miserable people in the world, and that's why some people end up doing things like, I mean, it's awful when little children do it, but when adults do it, it's even worse. Taking their lives because of words. Words do hurt, words matter. But I want to just say rest in peace to Hayden Panettiere. I also want to say rest in peace to y'all know I love dogs and I love animals. So this week, a friend of mine, Cy Smith, uh, her standard size poodle passed away, and I was just not dingy, oh dingy. I was so hurt. I was like, I felt like, I hadn't seen him since I left LA in 2017, but he was 13, and she gave him the best possible life. I mean, that dog, that dog had the best possible life. Stress can literally yeah, it can. And it almost did some years ago, but I actually liked that job. I just went a little bit too hard and almost killed myself. But anyways, I wanted to just say that, and just know that with regards to my friend, I feel really bad because there is nothing worse than losing a pet aside from losing a parent. So, you know, God rest his soul. We'll all see each other at the Rainbow Bridge at some point. Another matter I want to talk about is how we as a society need to do better. I hate the fact that now there are people running around declaring themselves to be Christians when they are in fact not Christ-like. They're Christ-like. They're using it as a way to lure weaker Christians, babes in Christ, who do not understand the dynamics of how Christianity truly works. Have you ever wanted to go to a Noah Kahan? I've never heard of Noah. No, never heard of Noah. Um, Brandon, we gonna have to let you go, baby, because you keep posting random stuff that sound like that little boy that unalived that little girl that he shouldn't have been messing around with. Brandon, you sound like David. Um, but there are people out here touting to be Christian, and I get it. These utility companies are out to make money. Okay. But did y'all hear this story that came out of North Carolina? A family of three plus their dogs died after their electricity was cut off. $2,000 they were owed to the county or whomever. And they cut them off in the heat of the summer. Y'all, if you've ever been down south, it is hell hot. And the family was using a generator in a home after their electricity was cut off due to an unpaid bill. And, they tried to take $1,000, tried to offer $1,000 and they wouldn't take it. And I'm thinking to myself, there are people, one of my friends shared that she had someone who owed $5,000 after, I don't know, X amount of years and they didn't cut them off. But you have a family in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, who lost their lives all because you wouldn't take it down, you wouldn't take a little bit of something towards that bill. Hell, I actually forgot to pay my bill recently and I had a disconnect notice. But do you honestly think that Nevada Energy is going to cut it off with triple digits? No. But apparently in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, they don't care. And they are not the only ones that this has happened to. But I have a sense that it's probably carbon monoxide is what it's going to come out to be. You using a generator that, continuously, and no airflow probably in the house, just trying to keep the house cool with that. But I don't know what happened, but it is very unfortunate. And another thing that I noticed about this, I said, I wonder if this family let it be known what their struggles were. And if so, did the people who knew about it offer to help, or did they just scroll on by and not care? And that's why I tell people, when someone says first of all, this is what always happens. Why didn't you let us know you needed help? Oh my God, we woulda, coulda, shoulda. But then when you put yourself out there, you find out that there are people who will not even lift a helping hand. They'll just be like, oh, it's Diva, she'll be all right, or in this case, these poor people. So I encourage you, when you see someone who says, hey, I need help with my utilities, just basic living expenses. I mean, obviously there was a reason why they couldn't pay. I don't know who this is, but y'all are being moderated. Brandon, you had to go in time out, baby. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on over there. You and Susan just having a whole other conversation. But anyways, prayers up for that family and for their loss. Again, if you can help, if you have the means to help, and someone raises their hand and says they need help, please help. I hate being the person in the position right now as I rebuild and restart my life because of racism. Um, I I really, really, really am grateful for the people who helped me when I couldn't. Good night, Susan. Um, I really want to thank the people again who helped me when I was down and out in Reno. That was a very dark time. You lose your parent, and then you go back to a job where there is an individual who has made it their agenda to make you feel as low as possible and then set you up to get let go because she doesn't like you. Not to mention, set up your own other boss to get let go too. So, I mean, she was just a horrible individual. Some kind of way she continues to get these great jobs, but I'm pretty sure in this new role they probably gonna find out she don't know what the hell she doing. So Godspeed to her. Um, Also, as you all know, during the day I work in trust administration. I am your friendly trust officer who helps you navigate if you are a beneficiary that has come into money. Understand how your trust works and how the estate plan that your parents, cousin, uncle, best friend. By the way, I've seen a trend where best friends are setting up trusts for their friends and family. I'm like, where are my friends that will set up a trust like that for me? Nonetheless, it appears, as you know, we did discuss the Malcolm Jamal Warner. While he had an estate plan, it was a weak plan because he unfortunately did not timely update his estate plan as his life changed. And as I've said before, whenever you have a life change, you need to review your estate plan and make sure that you have accounted for these life changes. Spouse, children, as they come, you need to make plans for them, especially when you are a millionaire. And if you're wealthy or, part of the high net worth, ultra high net worth groups, yeah. And even if you ain't got but two pennies to rub together, do you want the state to get those two pennies and rub them together for you? No, you do not. So, what has happened in the past week? We received a report that Pam Warner, there seems to be what we call a non-judicial settlement agreement about to come into play, or an NJSA. Uh, let's see. In August 13th, statement obtained by USA Today, a representative for Pamela Warren denied she attempted to withhold funds from her granddaughter and said a settlement has since been reached. Of course, NJSAs do have to be blessed by the court, and when they do get blessed by the court, 9 times out of 10 it will be sealed, and we will never know what the settlement was, and we are never to speak of it once it is settled. Pamela continues to grieve the sudden loss of her son Malcolm. She remains. Go get into bed. Go get into bed. No more treats. Pamela continues to grieve the certain loss of her son Malcolm. She remains focused on protecting his legacy. You need to go outside. Lord, this child, young. Do you need to go outside? Okay. Let's see if she probably don't want to go outside. She probably just want another treat. Ava. Oh, Lord. Go potty. Recent claims that Pamela sought to prevent her granddaughter from receiving financial support is untrue. Malcolm was thoughtful and deliberate in his estate planning to include all of his loved ones, while the trust is at issue is in favor of Pamela, his father, his sister. First of all, y'all, I didn't even know Malcolm Jamal Warner had a sister. I thought it was just him and his mom and dad. And even then, at first, I was like, where's the daddy? Malcolm provided for his wife and daughter separate and apart from the trust to the tune of millions of dollars. We don't know how factually true that is, but again, we will not be privy to what that NJSA will say if the courts opt to bless it. The statement went on to say that Pamela Warner attempted to resolve these matters privately before it went to court, and said she and representative appointed by Mackenzie Warner have come to an agreement that provides for Malcolm's daughter to receive the majority remainder of the trust and estate. The settlement also memorializes that it is in the best interest of Malcolm's daughter to have a relationship with her grandmother, Pamela. It concluded, Pamela remains hopeful that all parties will support the resolution and that her granddaughter will receive the full benefit of Malcolm's legacy without further delay. My question in all of this, though, is what is the widow going to get? Because the widow should be entitled. But as I have stated before, when a trust plan is in place, the only way you can get those changes and modifications to any trust agreement, 9 times out of 10, is number one. Here in Nevada, what we will do a notice of a proposed action known as a NOPA, and we'll tell all the beneficiaries and future generations this is what we're going to do. If you do not object within the next 30 days or however long we choose to give, or if they sign a consent to it, then we can waive the 30 days. Have them consent to waive the 30 days. And then, we go about and do what we got to do to modify and make room for it. But trusts tend to be ironclad. That is why they have spendthrift provisions. Which means basically it protects the assets of the trust from creditors, as well as keeping certain beneficiaries from going out and, I don't know, using the trust as where the trust could get liens attached to it because the beneficiary then used it or assigned the trust to some business deal that went belly up. That's why we have spendthrift provisions, asset protection. I'm assuming that because this agreement more so leans more so for the benefit of the daughter, is that there are certain things outside the trust that Malcolm may have left for the widow, because this statement does not really mention making any form of concessions for the widow. The only thing that Dr. Tanisha will probably be getting is whatever percentage of the estate remains, as she is a creditor of his estate and not a beneficiary of his trust. Gotta update that. Okay, you gotta update that, because then you end up with all types of crazy stuff going on. And I don't know if y'all have seen this, but Dr. Tanisha Warner, one of her best friends of 19 years, has started a GoFundMe for her. Her name is, I believe this is Destiny Rael, who identified herself through a fundraiser set up on GoFundMe. As her closest friend for 19 years, says she was starting a campaign because I've witnessed up close the depth of Tanisha's grief and the weight she has had to carry. And because I know she would never ask for this kind of support herself, so I'm asking on her behalf. Rael detailed how in addition to trying to manage her grief, Tanisha has been homeschooling their 9-year-old daughter, Mackenzie, which was something she says the couple wanted for their child. She also has experienced flooding to their she's experienced flooding to their marital home, requiring repairs, which of course is costly. She has stretched every resource she has and has borrowed from people who love her just to keep one foot in front of the other, she wrote. You may assume that Malcolm Jamal Warner's career left his wife and daughter financially secure. That was his intention. Malcolm had worked with his attorneys to update his estate plan to provide for his wife and daughter, but he passed away before he could sign. They thought they had time, and that's typically what the issue is. We all think we have time, and we don't. We could walk out the door today and get ran over by a bus, and let that be that. Okay. To make matters more complex, she noted that Tanisha stepped back from her career in psychology years ago to take care of their daughter. The funds will help ease the financial strain, cover the expenses she is now facing, and provide security for Tanisha and her daughter as they work towards resolving Malcolm's affairs. I am not asking anyone to take sides in a family matter that was never meant to be public. I am asking you to stand with the grieving wife and mother and her young daughter so they don't lose what Malcolm intended for them. It's at the time of this article on Essence.com, it had raised $38,000 with a goal of $40,000, and more than 100 donations have been given. The top contribution being a whopping $32,300. One of Tanisha's filings stated that Malcolm hadn't fulfilled the obligations outlined in the couple's prenup. That is why I said she's a creditor of the estate, because the prenup just like a child support obligation does not die when that person dies. So you still have to provide for that child until age 18. So I'm praying that it all works out because it it really shouldn't have been in, you know, out in the public like this. And I feel like maybe Tanisha jumped the gun when she decided to file this lawsuit and make air out the dirty laundry. And it seems to me that maybe Pam Warner was doing what she was supposed to do as trustee of her son's trust and trying to figure out some things. And before things could be finalized and figured out, Dr. Tanisha decided she was just going to, you know, make it go faster. I don't know. Y'all, the sign of the times. We are really living in some interesting times here in America. Where is it that you would ever expect a place like Tyson to cease all of its beef production? I recently learned something today. I did not realize that Tyson owned a number of brands, including Ballpark, Jimmy Dean, Hillshire Farms. So in Jocelyn, Illinois, Tyson Foods announced that they are closing their Jocelyn, Illinois plant on Thursday. A letter was sent out to employees on Thursday informing them their job duties would end on Thursday or Friday. Some employees may be asked to continue certain operations past August 14th. They will be separately notified by management. The letter states those employees will be compensated through October 12th, 2026. Illinois officials said about 2,500 union workers lost their jobs with the closure. One worker had worked at the plant for 11 years and was shocked because they ain't give no notice, they just say. So the company will end, and this is what the letter stated. It says the company will end operations at its Jocelyn, Illinois beef facility and its Eagle Mountain, Utah case-ready facility. Capacity from these locations will be moved to more strategically located facilities with ample capacity to grow. Additionally, Tyson Foods is pursuing the sale of its Pasco, Washington beef facility. With these changes, the company will ramp up a second shift at its Amarillo, Texas facility as cattle become available. Collectively, these changes will allow the company to maintain a similar level of cattle harvesting across a more efficient and modern network. I don't know what to make of it. Is it really a strategic business move, or is it signs of something to come? Because I know one thing, I don't want, I'm tired of being part of the experiment. I'm just going to say that because I really wish that I had my stuff together because I honestly would move elsewhere and hope for the best because I really don't understand. All these people are now jobless, but yet you have a man who is mentally unfit out there on Pennsylvania Avenue in D.C. With nuclear codes talking to an AI of George Washington, getting his opinion on this ballroom. I cannot make these things up. If you go look it up, it's out there today. And I said, and this is a person of sound mind who proclaims that there are so many manufacturing jobs available to Americans, where these people just strategically closed 2 plants, and now 2,500 people don't have a job. We're always just one paycheck away. Always. Here in Las Vegas, where I now reside, or Clark County, a 63-year-old woman went missing mysteriously. She caught a bus off of Maryland Parkway in Harmon. I still don't know Vegas like that. I rarely go into Vegas proper. I live in Henderson and work in Henderson. So, an East Coast family said they're desperate to find their family member, 63-year-old Elisa Goods, who was reported missing in Las Vegas earlier this month. So, the family provided Nexstar Klaus class with a copy of the missing person report filed with Las Vegas Metro Police, which stated Good was last seen on August 8th, leaving her friend's apartment near Maryland and Tropicana to pick up iron pills at the CVS along Paradise Road in Harmon. And now I think I know exactly where that is. This is not like her to go missing, said her niece, Elena Calloway. She has a family that loves her, cares about her. We want her home and want her safe and alive. According to her family, Goods was staying with her friend Roger John in Las Vegas. Now, John, that she's known for 9 years, the family knows him, great guy. John said when he got home, he knew something was up because she wasn't back. All she was doing was going to, but then he said, well, maybe she went out because whenever she would come visit, she'd go shopping. Here in Vegas, apparently shopping is a plentiful. I don't know. Again, the only thing I do is go to Costco and TJ Maxx and Marshalls, mainly for dog treats. Yeah, no, I'm tripping. No, I know. John said he last spoke to her when she left the apartment to catch the bus at 12:45 p.m. on August 8th. Last I saw her, she was going down the stairs, and I said, "Okay, see you later." And that's the last time I saw her. I went out after her about 15 minutes after her, and I came back home about 2 or 3 hours later, and then she wasn't home. And then he said he was like, "Well, maybe she went shopping." Both John and Good's family said her cell phone appeared to be disconnected and unable to receive calls or texts. John said he reached out to her family and filed a missing persons report with Metro Police on August 10th. Beautiful lady. She was 63. She looked good. On August 12th, the family begins. Here's where it gets questionable. On August 12th, the family began receiving text messages from her phone, but are suspicious about who is sending them. I said, "Hey, could you call me back? Something happened to my mommy. It's an emergency." And I kind of went on and trying to get the person actually to call me, but they kept putting it off and saying, "Now my car is not working." But what happened is that they made up a name about, please let us know if you need money. And they said they wanted some Bitcoin. They said somebody, they made up a name, would send it. And they said, okay, we'll accept it. But we know we don't know that person because that person does not exist in that family. So someone has her or had her, and she may have met with foul play. So I'm praying for this family again. If you look up the story, she went missing August 8th. The missing persons report filed August 10th. Her name, wait a minute, where's her name again? Oh God, my head is hurting again. Elisa Goods, Alisa Goods. She is missing. She is 63 years old, probably very independent, but something happened between her getting on the bus and wherever she ended up. I don't know. And I can't remember certain part. I know whenever you hear Maryland Parkway, especially here in Vegas or Nellis, I've heard those some parts of those can be sketch. I know I found a wonderful soul food place off of Maryland Parkway, and I don't remember the cross street. But either way, it's delicious. I forgot the name of it. Hey, sis. Um, but yeah, definitely, if you live in Vegas and you know or have anything you can contribute, please contact Metro Police about the missing Elisa Goods. So y'all, I can't wait until I figure out how to use StreamYard on one of these platforms because y'all need to look at this. So if y'all go Google, some lady had her about 5 or 6 children with their backs turned and some backpacks on. Now, I did not know this. Many people do not know about the brand Goyard. The only reason I know about Goyard is because of Lupe Fiasco. And I'm one of these people, I love brands that a lot of people don't really carry around. And I said, oh, I want a Goyard bag until I saw their price. Baby, baby. Yeah, we love it over here. So, them backpacks, if they were real, would be about 10,000 a pop. Okay. I said, I thought I was doing something with my Swiss Army backpack. Okay. That's what I thought I was doing. But no, baby, she had to. She was, look at my babies. And now I said, well, what about the outfits? We just worried about these imitation Goyard bags that you got in the alley or on Canal Street or negotiated in an alley somewhere. I mean, it's very unfortunate. You worried about the designer, but your children cannot read. I'm not saying those children in particular cannot read, but our children cannot read. Many of our children are being left behind thanks to No Child Left Behind Act. They cannot read. They cannot tell time, and they are doing a new form of math that is wholly unnecessary to do. Wholly unnecessary, and it needs to be stopped. And it also is a problem in our education system, particularly here in Clark County, where I live, where they don't want to honor IEPs. Just because a child walks and looks normal and talks normal does not mean they do not have needs that need to be met. They told one of my friends they were going to take away his son's speech pathologist because he tested so high. Yes, but he cannot speak. He chooses not to speak because he has a speech impediment, and children make fun of children who have something that's not like them, like them. But baby, you go be great in your Goyard bag. Cause like one of my classmates was like from high school, he was like, "What is a Goyard bag?" I was like, let me show you. But it's a French designer and they're very expensive. Now, resale, you can get them probably for about $5,000-$6,000. I don't know if she got it like that, but when I was looking at the structure of the home, I said, if that's an apartment and you went and got them imitation Goyard bags down to the Big T Bazaar in Dallas, no. But I mean, go be great. But really, we should be focused more so on, because like everybody said, hell, all of us, I know us Gen Xers, we were perfectly happy. Shit, I know I wanted me what did I want? I wanted my Trapper Keeper. I wanted a starter jacket. And I wanted a JanSport or a character. I can't even remember what characters I was into. It could have been Scooby-Doo for all I care. I remember I used to have the Scooby-Doo lunch pail, and that's when they were made with metal. It could also serve as a weapon. I never had to use it as a weapon, but I'm just saying. But yeah, Lupe Fiasco taught me about Goyard bags, and because he says, if you go back to the beginning of my video, I talk about gold on his, I think it's his first album, Liquor and Beer, gold watches. A gold watch. I like Mont Blanc pens and moleskin paper. I like Goyard bags and green now or later. So, monocle magazines and Japanese manga. Yeah, he taught me a lot. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. What else did we want to talk about? Lindsay Clancy is in the news. This has been a very interesting week. I had never heard of her attorney, but this man is a spry 75-year-old, sharp as a tack, getting in that, baby, that emergency room doctor. Woo! I was like, girlfriend, do he need to refresh your memory? Does he need to approach and refresh your memory and then enter it into evidence after you realize that, oh my God, yeah, she couldn't recall anything. Like, how do you just show up to court and not be prepared? I don't have a photographic memory. It doesn't matter. You knew you were going to court and you thought that he was just going to softball you. Instead, now we got a question, should you be working on us when we go into the emergency room? Okay? That's what I was left wondering. Also, y'all, what's his name? Patrick Clancy, the husband. Y'all, I love us for real. Y'all got to get into these crime groups that are covering this trial. So basically, some people are like, one girl has a new theory that, and let me say this. In criminal defense, you gotta cast reasonable doubt. You gotta get at least one juror to say, you know what, they might be on to something. Did she really do that to them babies, or was it the husband? And for those of you who grew up in, was it the 90s or the early 2000s? Time is really running together for me, but who remembers The Practice? And Bobby and his crew, they would plan B folk in court and give an alternative. Kind of like how in the Casey Anthony case, where they flipped and said the parents did it or the dad did it, and then tried to create reasonable doubt by saying the father had molested Casey at some point or another. And so basically that's what's happening now. People are coming up with these theories about maybe really it was Patrick that was attempting to take out Lindsay, and one of the children walked in and probably saw it, and then he knew that he had to take care of the children. However, didn't Lindsay admit that she did what she did with the exercise resistance bands with them children? I don't know. She was not well, though. She was not mentally well. I do believe that postpartum psychosis, really, she had no clue what she was doing. But I really, really enjoy watching older, seasoned criminal defense attorneys go at it, because that was once my aspiration, was to do that. Entertainment and criminal defense. Boy, I feel like they go together, because I thought I was going to be the next Johnny Cochran, the female version. That California bar exam, though. So anyway, one of the things that I watched a video clip of what's his name? Kevin Reddington. Kevin Reddington. He is a prominent 75-year-old criminal defense lawyer based in Brockton, Massachusetts, who is widely recognized for his decades of aggressive and tenacious courtroom advocacy. This is what you want to see. He contends she suffered a severe psychotic break brought on by postpartum psychosis, bipolar disorder, and over-medication. To streamline the trial, Reddington and Clancy agreed not to contest the prosecution's forensic and DNA evidence, focusing the entire legal battle strictly on her mental state and criminal culpability at the time of the incident with her 3 children. But what I found interesting, so apparently there's a singer, Tim Hall. And what I like about that is that when Patrick was on the stand, Mr. Reddington said, yeah, didn't you do a search for do you know Tom Hall or something like that? And then Patrick was like, Tim Hall. And he said, didn't he do something like commit, unalive himself? And he was like, yeah, I was looking for out. And he purposely did that. I'm going to tell you, he knew exactly what he wanted to ask, but he was just trying to see, okay, because come to find out, Patrick works for Microsoft. In some kind of way, he logged into his Surface, went into Chrome, went into Lindsay's Facebook, something. I don't know, but he's technical, so he knew what he was doing. So I don't know. It sounds like a plan B to me, because I do believe that she did do it, but I don't know. As a matter of fact, let me see. What is Massachusetts insanity statute? What does it say? Is it saying that you knew at the time? Because there's 2 different ones, how they phrase it, and I'm always like, either way, I think if you got issues, and if any time you have some sort of mental health crises or mental health psychosis that causes you to hallucinate and see things and hear voices, I don't think you are of a sound mind and you really are not making your own decisions. So let's see, what is Massachusetts insanity statute? Is that what I want to say? My head is, okay. Okay, so in Massachusetts, the insanity statute is known as the defense of lack of criminal responsibility. This is what I'm talking about. So they use a modified version of the McNaughton insanity defense. And broken down, it says the defendant suffered from a mental disease or defect at the time of the crime, which we know she has been diagnosed, yes. Because of that condition, they lack substantial capacity to appreciate the criminality slash wrongfulness of their actions, or they lack the ability to conform their conduct to the requirements of the law. The presumption of sanity. The law presumes everyone is sane and criminally responsible initially. And then the defense must introduce some evidence pointing to a lack of criminal responsibility. And then the prosecution duty, unlike many states where the defendant must prove insanity, in Massachusetts, the prosecution must prove criminal responsibility beyond a reasonable doubt once the issue is raised. And then the outcome of the verdict. If a jury or judge finds, because it depends, you want a jury trial or a bench trial. If a jury or judge finds the defendant not criminally responsible, the result is a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity. The individual is not sent to prison, but is instead ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and potential commitment to a psychiatric facility. Such as Bridgewater State Hospital for treatment until they are no longer deemed a danger. And when they say danger, that's no longer a danger to themselves or to society. So, yeah, because she appreciated at the time, I don't know. I don't even think she knew what the hell she was doing. Of course, many people will say, after strangling one child and even two, did you not come to your senses? Not when you're in a haze of psychosis. Not really. But we'll continue to listen to this because many people think that Patrick is the one in our discussion groups that may have been the one to have been up to no good. And, you know, because somebody said, what was his name? Chris Watts, who put his family in oil can and disposed of them. But I watched something recently. I'm like, dude, did you have to take out the children too? Because I ain't saying no one deserves. No one deserves. But I listened. I said, that poor man, he probably just was tired of her. And he shouldn't have done what he did. He should have just walked out the door. Just left. Just kept on walking. Started a new life. Like that one lady that disappeared. What was that? North Carolina. She just popped up 12 years later because she had gotten a DUI. And had left her whole family. No one, and she wasn't even like but a state or two over. Crazy. But anyways, I'm going to keep watching the Lindsay Clancy. I'm also going to continue to watch the David Burke trial. You know, that poor child is disturbed. And I've been meaning to go to the rabbit hole on him to find out. Somebody said they think he has a brother. I don't know, but I feel like he spent a little bit too much time by himself. And maybe homeschooling was not ideal. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's about it. I think Miss Afia the Diva is spent. And yes, I'm wearing my Buc-ee's t-shirt, although I saw Hot Wheels. I said, why y'all got that man in my Buc-ee's? Hot Wheels trying to cut up some beef. Why y'all got him down to the Buc-ee's? I also heard that the founders of Buc-ee's are contributors to him as well. So I've got some hard decisions to make. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Oh, okay. This is the final topic for tonight. So y'all, I like listening to the podcast YouTube channel, The Art of Dialogue, which often gives a lot of time to Dame Dash. But this time they had Dr. Umar on it. And as you know, a few weeks ago, Jay-Z performed in Madison Square Garden and had a lot of heat for those of us who are not supporting his partnership with Target. Dr. Umar clearly has not been paying attention or doesn't know how to read the room, because he said that, well, when Dr. Jamal Bryant said that the boycott of Target was over, I mean, that's probably when Jay-Z did the deal, basically. And I'm like, But Dr. Jamal Bryant wasn't talking to us. And I say that because I don't go to New Birth. I don't live in Georgia. I don't log on for Bedside Baptist with him. He jumped in the mix of something that had been started long before he got involved. And, then one day he just up in March said, hey, it's over for you and your parishioners. If y'all want to shop at Target, feel free. Now, I have admitted I do go to Target, but it is not for what y'all think. They are the only ones that sell my feminine hygiene products that I can get packaged the way I like, number one. And number two, they sell the black owned bamboo toilet tissue that I like. And those are the things I go in there to get. That's it. Because usually I'm all up in the clearance rack in the clothes. I'm in the beauty products. I'm going to spend about $100 like I do at Costco. That is not happening. Oh, and I also like the bamboo wipes, the Echo wipes that they have too. I love bamboo, as you can tell. So that's it. But I found it very telling because I'm like, Dr. Umar, you know that the rest of us are not shopping at Target just because we started back shopping at Target. Basically what Jay-Z did, it was whack. It was childish, it was petty. And to also throw Colin Kaepernick in the mix too. I mean, it just shows that he's out of touch. And Beyonce, I know that's your husband, but baby, should have popped that tag. You should have pulled it. I thought you upgraded him, girl. He out here going off on us because we're not going to support a product in a company that made it very clear they don't want our black behinds in there. Less known any other minority they were supporting in what was a great program. It really was a great program. You had a diverse amount of products from a diverse people. And it's sad that it's even that way to begin with because you should just be able to put your products on the shelf and people buy them just because it's a good product. I mean, they had black-owned condom brand. They had Tabitha's product. I mean, I think and at this point, I think Real, they probably don't even realize. They probably think it's some Japanese brand or something. I don't know, but baby, that's owned by a black man. Okay. Yeah, Real Bamboo, like as in REEL. But yeah, I thought that was very telling. Dr. Umar was trying to present. I said, if you look, I'm not going to stop listening to Jay-Z's music because he chooses to go the way that he went. I'm not going to boycott him. I thought that his argument was very, very weak in trying to justify his stance on putting that anniversary album in Target, Reasonable Doubt. Because when he was like, y'all on Meta, y'all on this, look, see, that's why y'all out of touch, Jay. We are taking down one giant at a time. We don't touch Walmart. You know why we don't touch Walmart? Because Walmart is everywhere where Target won't go. Rural cities. Y'all, when I lived in East Texas, Greenville, Texas, why was Walmart an anchor store? For the mall, you had JCPenney, a Belk. It was either Belk or Bells, and a Walmart. Those were the anchor stores. Okay, I'm just telling you. There was no Target. There was no Kmart. There was Walmart. If you are in, I'm trying to think, what small town, help me out, not Broken Arrow. Let's say Coweta, Oklahoma. You're going to have it. Batesville, Mississippi, you will have a Walmart. Will you have a Target? Not necessarily. They probably do now as the years have gone by. But I'm just saying, Amazon, that's another one. It's hard. It's hard because it's so convenient, but I don't know. We just taking them down one at a time. That's all. Thank you, Costco, for being down with the people. Buc-ee's, I hope you come to y'all senses because I love the gas. And I love the food. It's so hard. Anyway, I've been Miss Sophia the Diva. Thank you guys for joining the conversation. Susan and Brandon, y'all cannot come on here and have these conversations again, okay? But I do appreciate you all joining the conversation. And again, prayers up for Hayden Panettiere and her family and her daughter. God bless them. I wish things had, for her life, had turned out differently. And for anyone who has experienced a loss of a loved one to suicide, which I have, I pray for you. It is a painful place to be. And I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't know. We don't know what happened. She could have died of natural causes. We don't know. But under normal circumstances, the evidence is often there. But again, and we will also be discussing Nolan Wells as well. I need to take a trip down the rabbit hole with that one as well to find out where that case is. I know the FBI and Nancy Grace is on the case. That is her child, and we need to get to the bottom of it. So yeah, so as time goes on, we will discuss those. Again, comment, share, like, subscribe. I appreciate all of you. And remember, as I like to always say, don't get caught up in a trick bag. Good night.